Just cutting out my left side mount for the rear set. Just doing it out of plexiglass for right now, because I'll probably have to do a couple of revisions on it. Getting the basic shape I want right now, and then I'll do the right one. So basically how this goes, there's your primary. So this is going to mount over here off the end of the primary like that. Extra longer bolts with spacers in between it. And I'm just starting to shape it now. So, and we'll get an idea where we want our foot peg out as far as height and how far back we want it. And then once we get that set, we'll start on the right one. But I got to do some more shaping on this thing now. So that's the basic idea of it, is just like that or thereabouts. Like I said, you'll have to run a longer spacers with some longer quarter 20 bolts. So it'll actually set up more like this. Won't be all the way down. Well, we'll see how we end up here. Let me do some shaping on this thing. Shift side's the actual easy one. Brake side's a little more intense because you have to do it to clear the exhaust system. Got to get my Dremel out here. Get this how I want it. Just easier for me to do it with a Dremel than anything else. Last time I made one of these was, geez, 93 maybe. 93, 94. I'm pretty sure it was 93 because I had bought a set from Sportster, I think it was. Sportster was making a nice rear set, and I mangled both sides of mine, so I had to remake them from crashing at somewhere. I don't remember where it was. Maybe Daytona, maybe Summit Point, somewhere like that. But I crashed and mangled them, so I had to make some replacement parts because they didn't have replacement parts at that time. Or it was going to take so long to get them, and I needed them like right away. So I went ahead and actually made the plates, but that was easier because I had it's a lot easier when you're in a shop that has has a Bridgeport and lathe and everything else. I think I actually made the foot pegs, replacement foot pegs for it, because the ones they had were just a little bit too short for my liking. There. Do a little more trimming around this side over here, but I have to run probably 1-inch spacer on there. We'll see. Do some more shaping here. These bolts and find some spacers, but we're getting close. This is just a rough prototype, so we're not extremely concerned about how good these angles are yet. We're just trying to get a basic shape. Like I said, I'll probably have to do 2 or 3 of these to get them exactly how I want them. Just like I did for the tack mount. Ended up doing 4 of those, I think. Actually did 2 of them in cardboard. Did 2 in cardboard and 2 in plexiglass. Got them the way I wanted them. And it still ain't perfect. I still have to do that one out of aluminum. We'll fancy it up when we get to that point, but probably have to a couple of those in aluminum too. Trying to follow my arc here a little bit. Yeah, I had got to looking at these things when we first started. Think we were going to go this way, and I wasn't really into spending a huge amount of money on a set of rear sets. I mean, they look nice and all, but whew, man. And I'm not talking they were, yeah, I guess the first set I looked at was, I want to say they were almost 3 times as much as the set that I bought 30 something years ago. And the ones they had now actually didn't look worse than the ones I had 30 years ago. So, but you know, inflation, I guess. Yeah, and I found some other ones that were slightly cheaper, but when I say slightly, those ones looked even worse. And it was kind of iffy if they'd actually fit without having to do work to them. Yeah, it doesn't exactly look perfect, but you know, first one I'm doing here that it isn't in cardboard. It's a little bit better. Still need to trim over here a little bit. Actually, I could probably not take so much material out of here. But yeah, I think that'll work. We got the spacers down to maybe I'll have to measure them, but we're getting close. Let me go put this thing on here and see how long the bolts I'm going to have to get. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slap this primary on here. I have the transmission out, so I'm not putting a new gasket or anything yet because I'm still waiting on a shift fork for the transmission. But at least this way you can get an idea of what I'm doing here. Had a lot of planes flying in and out of Fort Bragg over there. Whatever air base that is over there that's next to Fort Bragg. Never remember the name of it. Hope, I think. Anyway, that's the idea there. And then the peg will go back here somewhere. Used to be peg was like right in line with this center bolt right here on the older stuff, but I'll have to see where we're going to put this. Sit on the bike. I'll probably put it down here, or I'll probably put a hole here and a hole here, mount the peg off just to see where we want to move it to, and that way I can drill a couple of holes in here, move it wherever we want to. And then as far as the shift lever goes, I'll use a Heim joint with the shift rod to go off the lever that's right here. It's kind of the exact opposite. If it was forward controls, it went down here and then up. And this one I can go over here off of the top there or off the bottom, probably off the top. I'll have to see yet. But anyway, that's the idea. Let me go cut some spacers for this thing. We measure a couple of holes here and see where we need to be. We can at least finish mocking it up. Like I said, the right side's going to be the harder one for the brake side, just because where it goes around the pipe over there. Looks like we're about 1.1/8. That's what we're going to start off with. Maybe a little bit longer. Bottom one's a little crooked and it has to go in a recess there, so maybe 1.25 inches. I'm probably going to do 1.5 inches to begin with. They just have to be thin wall enough to fit inside these recesses here. But 1.5 inches, and if we have to take some off, we'll take some off. We find some spacer material. All right, so what I ended up doing, since I'm just mocking this up, I had a couple of hollow bolts laying around, which are these that I just cut off to use for spacers. I cut them at 1.3 inches. That's what I ended up with, which should be good. And I'm using a 3.5-inch bolts. And I just used the primary to mock up the holes here for the mounting holes. And this is only 1/4 inch, but Probably using a 3/8 plate on here. 3/8 aluminum plate should be good. I think that's what I used before when I did it 30 something years ago. 38 years ago, basically, which was plenty good, and it's strong enough to stand up on. I mean, the pegs right here, I could stand up on the pegs, and it put a lot of weight on them, and that'll at least give us an idea where we really need to be. So I'm not putting the center bolt in there yet. So this area right here, I won't cut it out as much when I get done with it, so it'll have a little more support right in here. When I actually go to cut the aluminum, I'll do it proper, where I got this radius right here perfect, where it kind of sits closer up against it right there, and it won't be this far back. Well, we're gonna pop a hole in here and see where we're gonna put this thing at. So this is where they were before, or no, they were all the way up here, pretty much. The shifter was backwards off of the shift shaft here, so it actually, with the other ones, the shifter actually curved around here, curved around the primary here, had a nice bend in it, reverse shift pattern, so it would actually sit right about there, and your foot peg would be right here. But we got this one here, so we're putting it probably back over here somewhere. We're going to try it, and then we can drill a couple of holes and move it around. And if we don't like it there, what we can do is actually make another plate that would bolt onto this, that's adjustable, so we can move the foot peg up, down, over, wherever we wanted to. So it would be like, I don't know how to explain it. It would be like, well, it's pretty simple. You'd have this as a mount, but you have an adjustable block on there that you would actually screw the foot peg into. So, if you wanted it down an inch or forward an inch or back an inch, you the holes, half inch or 1 inch apart, so you can move it wherever you wanted to, up, down, whatever. But this works. So let's pop a hole in here, and we're gonna say right here, right now. So not real scientific at this point. Now I'll need to make that hole bigger. We'll pop a hole in here and sit up on the bike and see if that's where we want it at. We're not going to put any weight on it, but we'll at least see if it's in a good position. So this whole back section here will be gone. I just left it on there just because. All right. We might have to space this peg out a little bit. Not a big deal. We'll see. Needed to clear the primary here, but we'll see how it sits. Yeah, that ain't bad at all. Exactly where it is. Maybe it could go down a little bit more. Might even be able to go back slightly. Definitely going to have to space the shift lever out, be able to shift it. But we're in the right general direction there. Let me mark this thing. Cut it off right about there. And over here. Marker's dried up. All right, let me go cut this thing out so we can get it a little bit closer there. All right, we got it shaped up a little bit better now. Let me go ahead and slap this thing back on here. It looks a lot better there. That's our basic shape. And like I said, I can still move this around a little bit if I want to. Let's see what I'm going to do about the primary here. I know it's going to hit. I'll probably have to put a spacer behind here to move this out. See how far out we need to go. I'll need to be up here because shift lever is going to be down here somewhere. Still has to be able to go up. So we need far enough out that it doesn't hit the derby cover. See what we got here. Yeah, probably about an inch. Should clear it. And then what I do here for the lever and where it goes on the lever up here, I use a aluminum rod that's threaded with a couple of Heim joints on there. Keep it from binding up. That works good. Overall, that's our shape right there for the left side anyway. At least we know what we need to do. We got it mocked out. And the length of the bolts might change a little bit depending on, well, now I'm using a 3/8 inch plate. So you need to check the engagement of these bolts, how far they're actually threading into the case there. Just remember that your bolt length, your thread engagement needs to be at least 2.5 times the diameter of the bolt. So 1/2 inch, you know, need to be at over 500 thousandths thread engagement, or how far the bolt actually sticks in the threads. So we could get, as long as we got probably 600 thousandths. Anyway, that's our plate there. Then next one up, I'll do the right one for the brake and all that. So basically, when you do each side, you want your levers to be, or your pegs to be equal. So one's not forward. You know, you put your foot on there. You don't want one leg out further forward or further back than the other one. So we'll see how it goes with that. Right now, we're sitting a little bit past. We'll go off the swing arm pivot here as a measurement for that. Now we're 1.875 back from the swing arm pivot, center of the swing arm pivot to the center of this is 1.875. That's good. Okay. I think that'll be it for today. Or at least for this one here. It's time for me to go eat some lunch, and I'll probably come back in here later on and get started on the right one over there. Problem with that, I don't have any more plexiglass. So it was my last piece. Get some, or I actually have a smaller piece. We'll see how it goes. I know I don't need as much material for the right side. I just have to be able to have enough material to mount the master cylinder so it can go. But that's it. Hope everybody has a great week. And that's it. Everybody take care. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the comments. Everybody take care.